Welcome back. Now, the Mining Indaba 2026 is underway with a very strong focus this year on fixing South Africa's logistics system, a critical enabler for growth across the local economy. After years of rail constraints, port congestion, also underinvestment, momentum is building around reforms aimed at stabilizing and modernizing the network, growing a private sector participation supported by new regulatory frameworks and also early operational gains is lifting expectations that the sector may finally be turning the corner. Ramasela Ganda, CEO of Zeda, joins us now to unpack what it will take to get South Africa back on track. CEO, good to chat to you here on Business Lunch. You're at the Mining Indaba as well. Looking at the logistics sector at the moment, there have been calls for reform, calls for changes. What are you seeing at the moment?
Thank you very much, Ray, and good afternoon to your listeners and viewers. Look, a very exciting time, and what makes it a very exciting is the participation and collaboration between private sector and public sector, where there are no finger pointing anymore, but there's a focus, and everybody is good, in, and they want to get their hands dirty. If you look at, Zeda, as we've positioned ourselves as an integrated mobility, our key play in this market is about financing mobility, and that has really worked well with financing things like heavy commercial that really open up the channel to mobility, not just in Africa. As you know, the Mining Indaba is about Africa. It actually penetrates across the continent, and playing, one of the biggest challenge is funding. And one of the things was that private sector is holding back on financing and is not funding infrastructure. And with that, it has opened up many, many opportunities for the players, junior, big and small, to make sure that, we can grow the economy.
Yeah. Why is the private sector holding back on financing? Why have they got to the point where they're not being forthcoming? And you're right, it's nicer for the smaller players, but why hold back?
Look, I think the issue about any business is about the return, and it's about investing where it really makes sense. And also, you don't want to make an investment and see dereliction of infrastructure that just goes unattended. There is a need for discipline. I was driving around one of the highways and, R21 to be in particular in Johannesburg, and I couldn't help so we're coming down, and you can see the light poles are coming down. Those are the small things that says when we do investment, we're doing it for long term, whether it's the replacement of the infrastructure or new growth investment. So we need to take care of our investment. We need to watch over it. And, we need to deal with the things of corruption to get the country working. So because of that, there's been that holdback. But with all the things like Madlanga Commission and everything, we're very hopeful. We're very optimistic that the country is on the right turn, and we are going to see a change and accountability that our money will go and get its worth.
Yeah, but you do see green shoots. If you look at, say, Transnet at the moment, I know that their CEO is saying, well, we'll start turning a profit as of very soon. So there is that as well. And I suppose you can tie that into logistics. We're seeing that there is that thought process, at least on a national level, maybe not so much in the city of Joburg or sort of local, but at least national, you're seeing it.
No, definitely. I think the reason why I'm saying now we are seeing even the ports of freeing up. Transnet issued tender for private participation, even the leasing of the rail. So great opportunity. And I think that's where private sector say it will take all of us to play. And when we see accountability, we get very excited that, now we can play even, strongly in this. But I think the growth, we've seen what is happening with the gold price. We are in a good position as a country and as a continent to really capture the growth of logistics. It opens up, and when we start, trading with each other within the continent, infrastructure is very important. Logistics is critical for that. You want the vehicles to get to different countries quickly. You want goods to get into the next country via rail, trucks, very swiftly. So I'm really optimistic about what is happening in the country.
But Zeda's done very well. You've gone up into Africa. You're in, I think, 10 or 11 African countries at the moment. How did you get that right? How did you get that? Because others could maybe follow you in that trajectory.
We've been very clear that as the base being South Africa, we've worked very close with the South African companies that are going outside in different parts, and we use that as a springboard to different countries. But after that, you get to understand the dynamics of each country, because none of the countries in the continent are the same. It doesn't matter whether south or otherwise. But we really use that, and we spend a lot of time understanding the dynamics of the country, the economy of each country. And we've done well. I mean, talking about 11 countries, we've just been awarded 20 licenses in the continent, in addition to the 11 countries. So there's a lot of work still ahead for us as Zeda, but we're very excited that we've built a good base. So we are ready now to continue with the logistic and financing beyond Southern Africa and Ghana.
And of course, then something like the Mining Indaba provides you with that opportunity to network, to make sure that you expand and you expand.
Definitely. I mean, we actually are meeting our partners, our customers that are already in different countries and really expanding, so they get to, get the free. I mean, we will be attending as well the Zambian mining, we are attending the Zimbabwean. So this network that we're making here, we carried over. Zeda running Avis, a lot of people will say, but why is Avis at the Mining Indaba? But Avis is actually a financing house. We finance fleet, we finance mobility throughout the continent, and that's why. And mining fleet is very critical for us, and one of the biggest asset that we have is financing mining fleet.
Oh, that's why you're there, Ramasela. Thank you so much. Good to chat to you on Business Lunch. I do appreciate you taking the time. That was Ramasela Ganda, the CEO of Zeda.